Hey there, and welcome. My name is Michael Pearson-Adams, and I am the Director of Training Development and a Product Manager for a company called Waves Audio. Now, Waves Audio is a company that you may or may not have heard of. We are, though, a company that has developed software that is used in pretty much three-quarters of the records that you hear on the radio, the movies that you see at the theater, and all of the audio that you see on TV. We're a plug-in company. We're also a company that has taken the processing that we use in those plugins, and you'll find it in a lot of the hardware that you use every day, from exercise equipment that you have around your person, to headphones, to microphones, to computers and TVs. We're pretty much everywhere. Now, I love my job, and until the beginning of 2020, a lot of my job was travel. 2019, I think I was on the road for approximately 261 days out of the 365 days in the year. Now, from my perspective, it's awesome because I get to do what I love, and I get paid for doing it. However, one of the things that the beginning of 2020, like March-ish, I think it was, brought on was a sudden drop in how much we were traveling, how much we were able to travel, how much we were able to spend time in front of and in the proximity of other people and communicate in a face-to-face kind of manner. So there was this whole surge of how do we work remotely? How do we have impact remotely? How do we work with video? How do we work with audio? How does everything from the home office or the normal home studio sound better? So I spent the better part of 3 or 4 months working out for Waves and for me how to improve the experience for the entire Waves staff and sales team, specifically the sales team initially, and the guys doing all the demos, so that they could actually work remotely, work effectively, and still have an effect on people's lives. Now, the reason that I'm doing this little session for you, which I have affectionately called Working Virtually in the Creative World, Making the Impersonal Personal, how to improve your online presentation and meeting skills 100%, is because there are 3 things that are super important about the whole experience. If you're new to working online and working with clients online, or online meetings, everything from a Zoom call to, a full-on presentation and demo, to working remotely with an artist or a singer, a vocalist, and from your home studio, there are a few things that I'm going to share with you right now, with all you guys online, that are going to help. The first one is going to sound really weird, but it's the one that everybody misses. It's eye contact. The simple reality of the fact is that when you are talking to somebody, your brain automatically says, okay, eye contact, look at their eyes. So when you're on a video call, you tend to look at their eyes, and their eyes is not at the camera like I'm doing right now. Their eyes are on the screen. So that would be like me doing that entire last line that I just spurted out. It's not a script, so I'm going to try and get it right, but doing it like this. So one of the things that everybody misses, but is the most obvious thing, is also one of the most important, which is eye contact. Looks pretty weird, doesn't it? So this is one of those things that I actually teach now. I teach because it doesn't come as second nature. It comes as something that needs a teeny bit of work for a lot of people, because the brain is hardwired for us to look in people's eyes. And now the eyes are on a freaking computer screen. So, it's all very well for you to look at the person when they're talking to you. But notice, even if you're doing it, notice now that a lot of the people that you're talking to on video calls, you might get off this live stream and just jump on a video call just to test it out, aren't looking at you. They're looking at the picture of you on the computer screen. So that's number one that we're going to address. Number one, how to make sure that you're actually addressing the person that you're dealing with and looking into their eyes, when this is something that we've been trained to do our entire life from birth, but now we have to do it differently because the world is crazy. There's a couple of things that can help. Firstly, in this case, my camera is at an angle that I can look at it very, very easily without actually shifting my gaze too far from the computer screen. So in this case here, if you were the person that I was talking to on a video call, hi, how are you? I'm MPA, nice to meet you. I've got my coffee for the meeting. Do you have yours? I can see what's going on the screen. So I can see if you're nodding, shaking your head, smiling while I'm talking to you. But then when I actually go to look at you, the only thing I have to do is look there. So it's literally looking at you, looking at the face that's talking to me. It's a subtle shift, but I'm wondering how many you guys are probably thinking I'm crazy, right? But it's true, trust me. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this little session. And this is a short one, but it's a very important one. The impact that you have when suddenly you stop talking to the people on the screen or the visuals of the people on the screen, and you actually start talking directly to the camera, that way you actually have eye contact with those people. And I guarantee you that it's going to make a difference. So that's number one, and it sounds like the most obvious, but it's amazing how many people miss it. It's like it comes up nearly on a daily basis for me when I'm training people or I'm coaching people in my other work. Okay, number two. Now that you've gone, okay, he's not crazy. That is a thing. Number two is it's kind of like a pet hate of mine. Please, please, please try and avoid, if you can, try and avoid the standard blurred background that Teams and Zoom and other video chat software platforms give you. It doesn't look professional. It makes your edges look all weird. So when people are talking to you and you're moving around, suddenly a bit of a glimpse of the background suddenly becomes active, and they're now not paying attention to what you're saying. They're trying to work out what's behind you. The simple fix on this one is really, really easy. It's let them see what's behind you, people. So here I am. I'm currently in an Airbnb. I'm somewhere in the world. It doesn't matter where I am, but it's not my home. It's not my office. However, what do I do when it's a room like this and I have to actually nicely present it and have a clean background? The simple solution is your everyday lamp. In this case, it's a lamp that has two lamps in this case. They're both in the room already. And all I did was put a $3 really cheap smart bulb in each of them. And suddenly, my background is now boring again, but the only difference was that it was a bit bluer before. But these are everyday lamps, so all I've done is use an everyday piece of furniture to spice up the background behind me. And by spicing up, I mean make it not my color. Because generally speaking, especially if you're white and you've got a white wall behind you, there is no webcam that you're using that's gonna be able to deal with that. You need to make sure that regardless of what color skin you have, that the wall behind you isn't roughly the same color or even in the same shade group as you are. Otherwise, the tiny sensor in your camera is going to have a really, really hard time. So let me do that again. Let me turn them both off. Yeah, this is actually a good camera, but it's like if you try that with a little standard built-in webcam, it's going to have a problem. Let me put it back on. I like blue much better. Okay. The next thing is lighting in front of you. Now, I understand that not everybody wants to purchase or can purchase professional video gear, but you don't need it. You just need another, preferably 2, everyday lamps. And again, I spent $10 on these 2 bulbs. They needed to be a bit brighter. So all up, I've spent, I think, $35 on bulbs all up with shipping on Amazon to get me this look. So, and in this case here, let me just turn off one of these that I can get to. The other one I'm not going to be able to get to because it's way over there. So I'm just going to turn it off. Now my lighting's gone. There's another lamp way over there. But that's, so this makes a huge difference. It really does. And it's a lamp with a shade. The biggest mistake you can make as far as lighting goes, especially if you're using lamps, is having just a clean bulb with no shade. You don't want sharp light. You want light that's filtered, preferably through a cheap cloth light shade, because it diffuses it and it's more complementary to your skin and the light and shade. It's not harsh. So we've got a bit of light behind us. We have a brighter light by about 20% in front of me. This is not a light that you can see is making me, glare. This is just a light that happens to be, it's like I can touch this one, but it makes a difference. Makes a huge difference because suddenly people can see you. The third and last trick, so you've got eye contact, you've got lighting. The third one is you want to make sure that other than not blurring your background, that you clean your background, but have at least one item behind you of small amount of interest. When I say small amount of interest, it's something that people can look at, glance at, understand exactly what it is straight away, and then go, it's that, and then they're back to you. It's all of us have that little 5-year-old in us that wants to know what's behind us. So the blurred background, we already talked about that. Please don't do that. The other part of it, so as I said, clean background, people. In this case here, I have a keyboard. It's right here. It's just a keyboard. You could see it's a keyboard. You saw it was a keyboard, and then you stopped looking at it hours ago at the beginning of this talk, because you now know what it is. Your brain knows what it is. You don't need to see it. So one thing, maybe 2, compromise, but make sure that your background's not busy. Organize that little space between your camera so that people can see you and not feel like there's clutter or blur behind you. So, and it's really simple to do. It's like literally just move out of the chair, but keep the camera on, and then set your stage behind you in exactly the same way you would if you were setting up a photo shoot or something like that. Create a nice clean background. And the lighting, those 2 little cheap blue lights, they help. They're just on the floor pointing upwards, but they make this white wall look a lot more interesting. This is a bonus. This is just my favorite USB microphone, but it happens to be blue because blue's my favorite color. So there you have it. 15 minutes, roughly. But there's some tips in there that I think will actually really make sure that your next video call or your next presentation where you're actually communicating with people via camera has a lot more impact. Set your stage, make sure that the eye contact is there, make sure that while you're talking to people, you're not looking at them on the screen. Because remember, if I spend all my time doing this while I'm talking to you, it doesn't have half of the impact as if I give some dramatic pauses. I'm Australian, we like drama. Um, some dramatic pauses, and I actually talk straight to you. This is like keynote speaking. It's no different really, except you're in a room by yourself, which does suck. We all have to get used to this new little part of normal that I don't think is going to go away anytime soon. But this is one of those things that I train people to do because it doesn't come as naturally as it might sound. And it does take a bit of practice. And you do need to just prep that one little corner of your room by your office. The rest of your office or your space can be absolute chaos. Nobody's ever going to see it. It's just that little angle out there. You have no idea what's over here or over here in this Airbnb. It stinks. It's horrible. It's like there's boxes everywhere. There's a plate on top of the PC that's got a quarter of my sandwich left. But it's not in camera, so it doesn't matter. So anyway, so that's all from me. I'm going to close out this live stream now. My name is Michael Pearson-Adams. I'm from Waves Audio. It's my job to make people's lives easier and help them communicate as well as make them sound better. And in this case, it's not directly connected to what we do at Waves, but it is going to help you. I hope you're happy. I hope you're healthy. I hope your family's healthy. Much love. MPA out.